Today, we're going to talk about how to master supply and demand scalping the markets, okay? We're going to talk about what time frame do I use, what is supply and demand, low and high quality zones, how I draw my zones, combining zones with other levels, and entries and exits, all right? So let's go. Now, for all my new traders out here that don't know what supply and demand is, let me address that real quick. Supply and demand is just aggressive buying and aggressive selling, okay? So basically we're probably looking for, I would say, 3 candles in a row. Sometimes it could be 2 candles, especially if it's really aggressive, but for the most part, let's say 3 or more candles in a row. So 3 green candles in a row or 3 down candles in a row, and we're looking for the market to come back to those levels, and I'm gonna show you guys some examples later. Now, what time frame do I use? Well, I'm mainly trading the 5-minute chart, so I'm looking for my supply and demand zones on a 5-minute chart because I'm looking to get in and out the market. Now, for the most part, most people look for supply and demand zones on a higher time frame. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do that, you can do that too. A lot of people look for daily zones, 4-hour zones, 1-hour zones. Again, nothing wrong with that. I like to look at the 5-minute level because it fits my personality. It fits how I trade the market, and sometimes the zones on the higher time frame could be really big, and the market can get really choppy when it has those big zones. Now, let's talk about low quality zones and high quality zones, right? Now, when it comes to supply and demand, honestly, you have a lot of people that would say, I only take this type of zone, or it's best to only take this type of zone. And honestly, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to understand the structure first. That's the most important part when it comes to supply and demand, right? So me personally, it doesn't matter, you know, how the zone looks. I'm really focusing on the structure, okay? The direction of the market, because that's, in my opinion, the most important part when it comes to supply and demand. So some people, let me go to the chart real quick. Some people will say, okay, I want the market to take out a supply zone first. So right here, we have the market taking out this zone right here, boom. And then they want the market to create a demand zone when they take out the supply zone, right? And come back. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to, you know, trade that way, do it. All I ask is be consistent, right? Don't just keep on switching up or trade different ways or whatever the case is. And also I ask is understand the structure of the market, right? Understand what the market is doing right now, what direction it's trying to go. That's the most important part. And the next part that's very important when it comes to supply and demand is trade when the market is clear. Okay, let me show you an example. So right here, guys, you know, look at this market right here. It's very choppy. You know, it's just not really doing anything. It's tight. It's a very sloppy market. I don't want to trade markets like that. I want the market to be very clear, very clean, and I also want to understand the direction. Guys, I'm telling you right now, when it comes to supply and demand, that's the most important part. It doesn't matter if, you know, it takes out supply first and then creates a demand zone or vice versa. In my opinion, it's best to look for clean action first and then go from there. Now, with my trading, I really like, you know, trading supply and demand zones when the market is reversing and when the market is basically breaking out, making a continuation. And I'm going to show you guys some examples, okay? And also like trading supply and demand zones, okay, combining different levels, okay? And the level that I like to use is support and resistance, and I like to combine that with supply and demand. So let me show you guys some examples. Okay, so right here we have a obvious resistance right here because the market came up and slammed right back down. Okay, so we know that this is a level right here. Now notice how the market came back to that level right there and it slammed down. This is basically supply right here, right? We have aggressive selling to the downside. Now, how do we want to draw our supply and demand? There's different ways you can draw your supply and demand. You can actually use the candle that started to move. So we can use the first candle that started to move, which is this right here. Now, sometimes that candle is very small, right? And sometimes that candle have a lot of different candles around it. So let's say right here, if I wanted to draw this supply and demand, right, I would take most of the candles that's around it. So you see how we have all these candles that's around it, right? I would just take that and use that as my zone, because sometimes it doesn't even come back to the last candle. And you notice right here, it never came back to the last candle, right? It just came back to the zone right here and then it sold off. So to me, that's how I like to trade supply and demand, and I like to just use that. Now, if we don't have a whole bunch of candles around that zone, right, I just use the, the candle that started to move. So like this one right here, let me erase this. this one right here, guys, we don't really have that many candles around. We just have this sharp move and then it went down. So now, how are we going to get in the market? Entries, you can use a candlestick, okay? You can use double tops, double bottoms, and start with that because that's honestly, that's a good way to start when it comes to supply and demand. So I'm looking for maybe a double top, double rejections, right? Some type of pin bar or a nice bullish bar or a nice bearish bar. So right here, we have what? The market rejecting it once, twice. We created this nice bearish bar right here. That's, to me, that's a good signal. Boom, to get in the market. And this would be a nice quick scalp for me to the downside, looking for maybe a 2-to-1. Boom, you got it right there. Now, here's another supply trade right here to the downside. And we have a nice rejection bar right here. And we can definitely go short right here. Now, where do you want to put your stop loss? Well, you can put your stop loss above the zone. If you're first starting out, put it above the zone so you can actually have enough room or you get used to just being in the market. And then maybe go for a quick 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. It's always best to go for 2 times your risk. But again, a lot of times people don't realize that when you're first starting out, you're nervous, and sometimes it's just to get your feet wet. Sometimes it's good to go for those quick 1-to-1s just to get used to the market, right? But eventually you definitely want to at least minimum go 2-to-1, 2 times whatever you're risking. So you could definitely put your stop loss above the zone, right? So if you went short right here, you put it above that zone right here. And right here, if you wanted to go short right here, put it above the zone. You can do that first. So that's that trade. Now, let me show you something real quick. Okay, notice that I have this green line right here. That is resistance. Let me go back. So you see how we have resistance right here. And notice how the market hit that resistance and sold off like crazy. So you're probably looking at this and say, all right, what about this demand level right here? Well, why do you want to really buy right here when the market just hit that resistance, right? And sold off like crazy. So you have to, again, it goes back. And this is what we talked about in the beginning. It goes back to the structure of the market, guys. Market structure is king, right? This is why I laugh at other people that would say, oh, if you're not trading this way, or if you're not using this way of trading, or if you're not using that or that. Guys, listen, there's no holy grail. What is king is structure, okay? Because if you don't get the structure right, you will always lose, right? You will make money here and there, but eventually you will lose. So right here, most new traders will go long, right? Just because they say, oh, a demand level, but we just hit resistance and we sold off like crazy. So why do you want to go long, right? So notice how it broke that demand level and we created supply. So that's a good example of, you know, just understanding structure in the market, understanding when not to take a trade and when to take a trade. So let me show you guys some more examples. All right, so here is a demand example. Okay, before it was a supply, meaning the market was going down. Now the market is going up. So we're looking for aggressive buying. Now, notice how we have 1, 2, 3 bullish candles in a row. Aggressive buying, you cannot deny that, right? And look how clear this picture is, guys. This is what I'm talking about, right? A lot of you guys want to trade when the market's all choppy. Man, this trade when the market is clear and clean like this. So notice how we had, you know, it had resistance right here. It broke that resistance. It created demand right here. It pulled back. Notice how we have this trend line right here lining up with the demand level. Okay, so we have multiple levels lining up. Boom, it showed us a bullish bar right here. You could put your stop loss below the zone, or you could put it below the candlestick. All depends on, you know, your style. Okay, if you're first starting out, maybe it's best to put it below the zone so you can understand the market, get familiar with it, right? But boom, give us a nice scalp to the upside and you're done. So let me show you some more examples. All right, so right here, guys, we have a supply example. We have resistance right here, resistance right here. We have the head right here, right? So like a head and shoulders. Now, the market came down right here, boom. And we have a supply level right here, okay? Now, the supply level is what? Matching up with this resistance right here, okay? So a good combination, guys. We're talking about a great combination. So it hit that supply right here. Again, you can go short. You can put your stop loss below, above that zone, okay? Or you can put it above the candlestick, depending on your style, right? And we're looking for that 2-to-1, and we definitely got that 2-to-1 minimum. But notice how we had one rejection, boom, gave us another rejection. So it gave us another trade. So we have this nice 2 pin bars right here, you know, quick short, and boom, another scalp to the downside. So again, combining levels with supply and demand is going to put you in a good place when trading supply and demand zones on the 5-minute chart, because you're having other levels lining up with your supply and demand. So let me show you guys some more examples. All right, so here's another example, guys. So right here, okay, we have the market selling off like crazy, right? Creating this supply right here. Now, what do we have to the left? We have a obvious all right, left shoulder. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, all right, we have resistance and we have a supply zone. To me, that's a very high quality zone right here. So the market came to that zone, showed us a nice rejection, and notice how we had this bullish candlestick and it wiped out that bullish candlestick. Man, that's a great sign right there, telling me that this market is weak and we can look for possible lows, right? Or a quick 2-to-1 if you're scalping the market. Boom. So that is a nice trade when you're combining levels, and I'm gonna show you guys some more examples. All right, so here's another example, guys. You know, the market's going down, supply examples, and a lot of these trades that I'm showing you guys, I took these trades, and I'm gonna show you this trade because this is a good example of what happens if the market is not really going, you know, to that supply zone. So right here we have the market breaking down, right, creating this supply right here. We wait for the market to come back to the supply zone, but price never went to the supply zone. So the next best thing is always resistance. So right here, guys, we have resistance right here, right? So I noticed that the zone is close, but we can't even go past that resistance. So that trade right here, we have a nice double top right here, showing a nice rejection right at that resistance. This is a good trade right here, all the way to the lows. So right here is a good trade if you're looking at the market and it can't go past that resistance, but supply and demand is close. Let me show you guys another example of what I'm talking about. All right, here's another example of what I'm talking about. So right here, guys, we have supply right here. Now, it never came to that supply, but what do we have? We have resistance. So again, I told you guys before, I don't really just only trade supply and demand. I trade support and resistance and supply and demand. A lot of people just only trade supply and demand. Go ahead. If you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. All right. I'm just telling you what I do. So notice how the market is trying to go to that supply zone, but it's hitting this resistance. Boom. Multiple times, right? It's giving you a lot of chances, right, to get in the market. So you can go short, right? And you look for your quick scalp. So when I see that, and I see that it can't go past that resistance level, and I'm waiting for it to go that supply zone, I must take that resistance trade, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, what happens if there's no resistance and it never, you know, goes back to the supply or demand level? Guess what? There's no trade. Then you wait till the next day or wait till you see another trade appear, right? So that's the best thing to do. Now, let me show you guys some more examples. All right, guys, so here's another example right here. Notice how we have resistance. It breaks down, boom. When it broke this resistance right here, because right here, this is too tight. This is like, you know, why would you want to trade this, okay? So it finally broke this and it came back to this, right, and react off of this level right here. So a couple things you can do. You can take that resistance trade, or you can wait for the market to create a supply, which it did right here. It created this supply, right, and came right back to it. So notice how we have the nice bearish bar right here. You go short, maybe put your stop loss above the zone or above the bar, doesn't matter, and you go for your quick scalp to the downside. I hope you guys are seeing the common theme today is basically combining supply and demand with other levels. This is how you actually create high quality zones when you're scalping the market on a 5-minute chart. Now, let me show you guys some more examples. All right, so here's another example, guys, okay? So right here, again, the market is choppy. We're finally making a good, decent move right here, and the market pulled back to this demand level. We have like 4 candles in a row, pull back to that demand level, right? And then boom, nice move to the upside. Basically, we had definitely nice move to the upside. We go for a quick scalp, look for profits. Now, look how clean this is, right? Again, clean, right? If you're trading the 5-minute chart, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for clean moves. We're looking for the structure of the market, right? And we're looking for some type of reaction when the market comes back to that zone. And also we can look for zones that's combined with other levels, right? So let me show you guys some more examples. Okay, so here's another example right here. The market wasn't doing anything for a long time, right? Look how tight this price is, and then boom, finally rips up, showing us a nice clean move to the upside, and then it pulls back to the demand, right? We have aggressive buying right here. So it shows us a nice bullish bar right here, and this is a nice long to the upside, right? Looking for your quick profits. So again, we're looking for, guys, we're looking for nice clean moves. We're looking for zones that's combining with levels, right? And we're looking for just nice clean market structure that's going to tell us, all right, definitely need to take this trade. Now, what happens if the market breaks the zone? Let me show you guys that real quick. Now, notice how we have supply, we have demand, and notice how it's just breaking this supply zone, but just a little bit, right? Boom, it's breaking the supply zone, can't even go above it, and then it slams back down. To me, this zone is still valid. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's not valid anymore. For me, it's valid because it's not breaking the zone that much. And it's showing reaction, okay? So it's showing some type of reaction at that zone, selling off right here. To me, this would be a short for me, boom, for a quick scalp. Now, notice how we have demand right here. So we have that demand right here. Now, you wait for it to hit that demand, but it broke that demand, right? So it broke that demand right here. And if you notice how it didn't break it that much, just a little bit, right? And buyers is coming in. Boom, we have a nice bullish bar right here for a quick scalp to that supply zone right here. So keep that in mind. If it's breaking supply or demand just a little bit, right, and it's showing you some type of bullish reaction after that, yes, that's a good trade, right? So this is why I really don't tell people, especially new traders, to just go in the zone right away. Especially if you want to trade a 5-minute chart, you know, just wait for confirmation. Don't just go short or long just because it's at a demand zone or supply zone. So that's all I have for you guys. I mean, I hope you guys enjoy this video, back test this, write notes, take notes, you know, just do whatever you have to do so you can get good at this, be a successful trader, and just level up, right? So that's all I have for you guys today. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely if you got any value out of this video. And also if you want to learn from me, I have 16 years of experience. Go below in the description. I do have a program for you guys. And also if you have any comments, comment below, because I always try to answer all you guys' questions. Thanks a lot for your time, and please have a great day.